Hello, everybody. Hello. My name is Arturo. I'm a personal trainer. So, question of the day is it a sport? Is bodybuilding a sport? And answer is not that easy. Let me tell you why. So, if you notice by the thumbnail, I have both Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dwayne the Rock Johnson on there. They would both be considered bodybuilders by some people. And so let's take a look at the way they go about it and why this is going to play into the answer later on. So, Dwayne, motherfucking Rock Johnson. So, The Rock, if you smell it, alright. Alright, so if you smell what The Rock is cooking, he, he's, he's got a long, long history of building his muscle. Sometimes it's to change the size for certain roles, but he's got a long, almost a lifelong history of working out and building muscle, building his body, bodybuilding. Uh, he's done this for plenty of movies. He's done this as a pro wrestler, um, as a football player. He's done this, for a long, long, long time. He's like almost 50. He might be 45. He's actually pretty young, uh, despite I think, um, or he might be older. I don't remember. I remember when I found his age. It was a big surprise, but that's not the point. So he's got a lot behind him. He's got a lot of experience behind him when it comes to this. So without a doubt, he would definitely be considered a bodybuilder. On the other hand, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's been doing this for a long time too. Depending on what his job requires of him, he might not do it as much as we might like. I like to see him when he's huge, just because I like muscles, dude. I mean, I'm not gay or anything, but just saying it's admirable for someone to become that successful, I guess. So, and I like to emulate that. So I like to have inspiration. So when he does work out, especially when he was in competitions, he was huge, right? He was arguably bigger than The Rock, especially when he was in competitions. So as time went on, he started to get into movies. He was still huge, but it was not like massive like he was. He was still huge, but he was not the same size. He was more, I guess, conditioned to play that role he was in. He goes on to politics. He kind of has to do away with that so he can take care of the job there, and then so on and so forth. And when he went back into movies, he started working out. I guess he's the governor again of California. So regarding that, he's got a long tradition of building muscle as well. So what separates him and The Rock, what makes The Rock a bodybuilder, and Dwayne Johnson, what makes The Rock Dwayne Johnson bodybuilder, and Arnold Schwarzenegger a bodybuilder are the same thing. They're both building their bodies. They're both building muscle. They're both trying to attain a certain physique. That's the essence of bodybuilding. The difference is, this is very important. They're both actors. They both build muscle. They're both competitors at least one point in their life. However, Arnold went to competitions. Dwayne didn't. So there's a certain kind of bodybuilding where you go to competitions. That's the sport part of it. You're going to compete to win a prize. You're going to compete against other people. That's that's the that's the answer. Where Dwayne Johnson, he's never really competed in a bodybuilding competition. He's done bodybuilding. He's a bodybuilder because he's building his muscles and everything, but he's never been in a competition. So he's not bodybuilding for sport. He's doing it for the roles that he's playing. He's doing it for himself because that's part of his thing. This is what he does. This is what he likes to do. You can see him talk about all the time. So that's just something that's a part of who he is. And where Arnold has participated in competition. So the competition part is where the sport's at. You know, you can do it for a lot of different reasons. You can do it for impress girls. You can do it to make yourself feel better, I guess. You know you can do it. Um, you can do it just because like that's the way you like to look. That's the way I like. That's what I'm achieving for because that's the way I like to look. That's the way I want to look. So So that's not the sport part of it. That's a different motivation to do it. That's a different motivation to do bodybuilding and be a bodybuilder, but that's not a sport. The sport is a competition. I don't know if I'd ever participate in a competition. I might if I knew if I had thought I had a chance to win, but it takes a lot of training to get everything perfectly symmetrical, and I know I'm just not right perfectly there right now. I've improved, but I'm not quite there. So that's what makes it a sport is the competition. The competition is the sport, right? That's the sport of bodybuilding. The competition of bodybuilding. So you go there, you win you compete against others, you win the prize, whatever. So it's a lot like having a gray area, kind of, right? There's certain parts of it that are not. It's all the same, but it's not really. You know what I mean? So there's two different parts of it. And they all make up the sport of bodybuilding. And so it's a lot like if you take sports in general. There are certain sports that are kind of teetering, like, well, it's not really a sport, but some people consider it a sport. Especially the ones who are in it. So like football, baseball, those are undoubtedly sports. But then you have like esports, and some people don't consider that a real sport. And then you have hunting, and I think certain people will probably disagree as that as being a sport. Just going out and killing for fun rather than killing for food. That's not a sport. Just I guess animal rights activists are just people who really care about having animals, I guess, and the well-being of animals. To them, that's not a sport. They'd probably have a field day if that ever got, that idea ever got big and prevalent. The same with esports, right? So, you know, you're going to compete against other people, but it's in a video game, right? You're not actually physically moving yourself. You're going to play a game, right? So, regarding that, there's a gray area of what's considered a sport and what's not. Um, and when you go back to, the gaming, that can be for fun and relaxation. There could be other reasons you do it besides to go to compete with other people, because not all games are competitions of against the other person. Like you have, Super Mario, where you're just playing against yourself or playing against, I don't know, whatever obstacles are in your way. And then there's Minecraft. That's not competing against anyone. If anything, I encourage you to work with people because you have to survive in the environment, right? And then you go to hunting. There's a part of hunting where you're not you're not doing it for sport. You're doing it to feed yourself, right? So there is that's one way to look at it. There's two parts of it. They're contradictory and complementary at the same time. They're two different things, but they both make up the same thing. So, going back to bodybuilding, it's the same thing, right? It's got a part of it that's not really about competition. You have different reasons for doing it. Then you do have the competition part of it, and that's where a lot of people like to go with their bodybuilding. That's what they're training for. They're training to get as perfect as possible, and that's what drives them. That's what they're living for. So that's the answer. It's both a sport and it's also not a sport. Okay. I hope this informed you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to be pumping out a lot more of these soon. So Something's wrong with my live recording. Anyway, so what was I gonna say? So what am I saying? What am I saying? Um, yeah, I was doing my outro. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any things you want to say about this video, any opinions they have about it, go ahead and leave them in the video below, or comments below. Video below. Yeah, the comments below. If you have any things you guys want to ask me, any things you guys like about fitness, or any things that you want to share with me, go ahead, because that's really what drives the videos on my channel, is just kind of taking what you guys want to hear and giving it back to you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Now to go.